So here I am in my apartment in the city, right? And I'm having a cigarette. I don't really think you should smoke if if you're thinking about smoking, but I'm addicted to cigarettes. I'm addicted to cigarettes and coffee. Mostly, they're my that well, they are my two vices chemically, right? So that's not too bad, right? I don't take cocaine. I don't drink alcohol. I don't even smoke weed these days. I don't even smoke weed. Just coffee and cigarettes. And there's a movie called Coffee and Cigarettes, and there's a movie called Cigarettes and Coffee. I've watched, I think I watched all of the first one I said. I didn't watch all of the second one. But they're both probably worth watching if you're into movies. And just, if you want to watch a movie, at least watch the first one. I think it's worth it. Addiction is a funny thing, right? It's very easy to get addicted to things if you're like me and you started young. And then breaking the addiction is very complicated because of a chemical imbalance causing like mental issues, even if it's just a bit of strong depression, psychosis, or something. Like Jung says, the psychiatrist, psychologist, writer guy. I've read a bit of his stuff. Can't remember much, but he says pretty much in one of his books that I read that most people in the Western world are suffering some sort of psychosis and psychic illnesses. And I really agree that with that statement. And I think, as a psychologist, you'd see more than I would. But it's obvious to me that addiction is probably a good sign that someone's got some kind of illness that they're trying to deal with. And I am planning in my mind how I can escape my addiction before it causes me a painful death and a long, slow, painful death, which is on the cards at the moment, right? And I hear about these not even that old people, like 50-year-olds. I'm 43. You hear about 50-year-olds suffering really bad illnesses and having horrible ends to their lives. And I've always wanted a good end to my life with a loving partner, with a place of my own, and doing the things that I enjoy towards the end of my life, and being comfortable and reasonably healthy and active still. And I think, the way I'm going to achieve getting past my addiction to cigarettes mainly is the main one I need to break. Not so much the coffee. I mean, I think the coffee moderately would be fine. I probably drink too much, but moderately coffee, I don't think is the problem for me. Cigarettes definitely need to go, right? But the way I feel that's going to work for me to get off cigarettes is to reduce them slowly and slowly wean myself off them. And I think the only way I'm going to be able to do that is through exercise and meditation. Those two things, and obviously reduction of the cigarettes, but meditation and exercise works in numerous ways to stop an addiction from keeping its hold. Because with meditation, you become more mindful of what you're doing. You become more in control of your ego and reduce your ego even, which is probably for me, I wouldn't say I'm a overly big ego as in confident and kind of self-centered to the point where nothing else, no one else matters. I cannot have empathy. I cannot have compassion. I'm not that kind of ego, but I have a damaged, addicted ego. My ego is addicted. My ego is damaged, and I need to reduce my ego and heal my ego and reduce it even more so I can be more within my soul and be the person I really, truly want to be. Sometimes I feel that I get there, like right now, I feel like I'm kind of in my element of what I can achieve. Because not much is required of me other than introspection, and I feel like I've had a lot of experience with introspection. I've had to kind of think about the self, which is a projection, they say, but my soul. I've had to think about my soul, what my soul needs, my mind needs, my body needs. And I've had to battle against my ego for a while, for quite a long time, years, maybe decades, battling against my ego sometimes. When it comes to the crunch of a crux, and I am forced to look at myself and decide, well, am I harming myself? Am I harming the world? What am I doing for the world? What am I doing for myself? How can I improve myself to give more to the world? And it comes to this point where I'm harming myself, which for me makes me realize that although I'm not outwardly seeming like I'm harming the world in a violent way or a controlling way over anyone else, because that's probably not happening, right? But my essence as a soul with my ego is creating a problem if my ego was to attach to someone else. It could be in a damaging way because my ego is damaged. Even if that's just codependency or addiction to somebody, or neediness, or not being able to be without them, right? Which are all normal things in some ways. But these negative parts of the ego that I have created through my traumas and life experiences and good and bad experiences, especially the bad ones, which have formed this ego into this addictive to cigarettes person, and with all my other negative traits, which may not be permanent on a minute to minute basis. That if I was to attach to someone and wasn't mindful and wasn't careful, what I say, what I think, how I feel, what I do, could have a negative impact on somebody else, even if I didn't intend it. Just the me that I am could be damaging to the world potentially because I am not perfected. To become perfected, of course, takes lifetimes and might take many lifetimes. But to aim towards it is not a negative thing. You should not say do not try to be perfect. It's unattainable because the imperfection of perfection is what you're after. Like you might not be perfect, but you have eradicated as much of your negative side as possible. You've reduced your ego so much, like they talk about enlightenment, that you do not affect the world as much as you could with your ego, because your ego is not in control of you, your mind is. If your mind is in control of your faculties rather than just your mind's just doing whatever it wants. Like I imagine people walking around the world just having thoughts. I look at myself. Sometimes I just have thoughts. And I don't feel like I'm necessarily in control of these thoughts. Like I am intentionally having these thoughts. They're just happening. And a lot of people talk about, I don't want to have these thoughts. I hate my thoughts. My brain is driving me insane. I'm having all these thoughts. I don't want to have them. I don't like these thoughts. I want to die. I want to punch someone. I want to, whatever negative thought they're having regarding how their ego is formed within them, whether it's damaging outwardly or damaging inwardly kind of scenario, harming the self or harming others is a big part of mental health. It's a big part of the psychology of a human. You have people that damage, you have people that damage themselves, you have people that do both. And it is this negativity and damage that we create that traumatizes and creates more negativity exponentially, and it has done for thousands of years, right? Obviously, the world is not perfected, people are not perfected, and a lot of people are damaged. So, what are we doing wrong? It's obvious we are not going within, healing the self, so we can heal the ego, so we can heal those negative aspects of ourselves. So when we interact with the outside world, we create a positive impact rather than a negative one. And it sounds so redundant to me because we all know this is happening. We'd all agree that yes, these are the problems of the world, but we can't agree, all of us, to stop doing it or know how. Some people might not give a shit and do whatever they want no matter what you say. I mean, that's fine too. I can't control people. I like to control people in a way to make them better people if I could, but what's the point of controlling someone to be good when you can encourage them to possibly want to be a better person rather than control them into it? Everyone says control. They don't want to be controlled. I don't want to be controlled. I don't want people to control me. I don't want people that I don't know if I can trust controlling my life, right? Why would I want somebody that I'm not even sure has the ability to decide my world, my life processes, my thoughts, my actions, my words? Why would I want someone to control these things if I can't even know for sure that they're having the best interest for me? Like the government, does the government have the best interest for me as a person? Well, a lot of people would say probably not. So, in order to navigate this world in the best way possible, it starts with yourself, right? We all know that. You are you. You are responsible for you as much as you can be. You have to control what you do outwardly to the world. And that could just be your thoughts. Maybe your own thoughts are affecting people around you, regardless of words, regardless of action. Even just your thoughts could be projecting themselves upon the universe, and your thoughts are creating a force from you that's affecting the world externally around you, wherever you are. This is a big responsibility, and I am not perfect at it either. Of course not. Who is? Not many people, probably. That we're all having thoughts that we sometimes are not mindful of. We are not aware of the severity of our thoughts, and we can't do much to control our thoughts. We just have thoughts. We're just walking around having thoughts that are out of control at people, at objects, at the world, these thoughts are just projecting from our minds upon the universe, and we have little control over the reaction from this universe back to us from our thoughts. We should be really trying, as a soul, as a mind, as a being, as a sentient being, that's more developed than the other animals in the world, as far as we're aware, to be able to decide, I want to have these types of thoughts rather than these ones, and be able to try to, at this stage in 2022, right? We have enough resources and enough literature and enough videos and enough spoken word audio that we should have enough information around us that we can get answers to how do we get in control of our lives as much as we can. How can we be responsible for ourselves and our purpose to be a being in this world that doesn't damage the world, but rather gives something to the world which makes it better, right? And a lot of people agree, we all want to do that, but how do we do it? How can you be mindful of your thoughts, your words, your deeds all the time, so you know 100% your intent is to create a better world? Not just absorb a movie and absorb a beer and absorb a cigarette and absorb all these things around you to satisfy purely your own desires, right? When we all do it, we all have desires for this, that, and the other that we must satisfy: an object, a person, a thing, and a piece of fruit, sex, cigarettes, booze, drugs, violence, who knows what. We all have desires we need satisfied. We all want to be entertained. We all want to be entertainers. But when are we going to realize that as an individual being responsible for ourselves, we are also responsible for the reactions we're getting from the world, which may not even be apparent to us as a reaction to what we created? And a simple way to look at it is, if you do a crime and then you get arrested for that crime, that's a reaction from the world, right? If you swear at someone and they hit you, that's a reaction. And that person that hit you might get arrested, but you've created the situation for yourself. And I'm aware of this, and it's kind of frightening that maybe I've created a situation for myself which is not all positive, and that I am responsible for it by being not perfect. I've created a force for myself which is attracting negative things sometimes. There's a lot of negative in the world, and you probably don't want to poke sticks at it too much. You know, you poke a stick at a bear, it's probably going to try to eat you. So you are responsible. You are in a position where you can be in control of your thoughts and your intent. You can create a positive intent to give to the world, to help the world, to make it better. Or you can just be this kind of person wandering around in life, doing whatever pleases you at the time, through whatever emotion comes up, and following it without any second thought.